welcome to the Biohacking Beauty podcast. My name is Amitai Eshel.
And I'm Anastasia and I.
And today we are, first of all, Anastasia is back on another highly requested episode, both substance and the fact that you are here. So welcome.
Thank you.
We are obviously the founders of Young Goose Skincare. And this is a pretty interesting episode because I don't know if you've ever noticed, but we often neglect the skin of the chest and neck and kind of finish applying product somewhere around the jawline. Even ourselves were kind of guilty of that because the company is, around 4 years or 5 years old. And we only now give the platform for a neck product. So we kind of also have done that.
Yes, but I'm not guilty of applying the product.
Yeah.
I've always applied the products on the neck and the collet area. But it's the very first time we are addressing the complications that come with taking care of your neck and that delicate area, and really highlighting, what goes into formulating potentially a product that would work, but really what, why the skin acts the way it does around the neck, which, is, I think most listeners will agree, it's just a different skin. It feels like a different skin. It acts like a different skin.
Well, I think we can divide the audience to two camps: the ones that know it acts differently, and the ones that are gonna find out if they're gonna, if they're gonna mess around, they're gonna find out. So, let's talk about what we're gonna be talking about today and jump right in.
Okay.
We're gonna be talking about what's actually causing crepey skin in the neck and chest, common myths and why they're incorrect, and proven strategies backed by science, backed by research, backed by experience as to what works and what can be done. So do we jump right in? Oh, let's just say this podcast is brought to you by Young Goose, the world's first biohacking longevity skincare company, which we founded. And if you like what we're doing here, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts. And I think I just want to thank everyone. Recently, the podcast has been growing like crazy.
Yes.
So to all of you that have shared it with
your friends, your family, the ones that, we actually get tagged quite a bit on Instagram when you guys like the episode and you put it to your stories and you recommend others to listen to it. That really helps. So thank you so much. Or when you let us know that you liked the episode. And actually, this particular episode, as well as some others that are coming up, later, they're all inspired by you. We really taking into consideration all of the frequently asked questions. And there were a couple of people suggesting some topics, which we always ask for suggestions. So these are very welcome. So it's really, as Amitai always says, for you. We're doing it for you. We want it to be useful. And we're just thrilled that so many of you like it, share it, and please continue. It really helps us to grow, and we grow together, and we just try to give you more and more useful information.
Yeah.
And speaking of useful information, so from this podcast episode, we hope that you'll walk away understanding what really causes crepey skin, why retinol and Botox aren't enough, and how your phone posture is sabotaging your jawline, and how to build an actual science-driven neck and chest routine.
Fantastic. Okay, so let's jump right in. Wait, don't we? Anyway, so let's start with why your neck ages faster than your face. And I think we should start with skin structure 101.
Yes. So the dermis in those areas is less dense, meaning there is just not as much collagen and elastin to begin with. Plus, the neck area has fewer sebaceous glands, which are your natural oil producers. So there's less hydration and less protection from environmental stress.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a big factor.
Also, I think something that kind of relates to that, but is it maybe a side note, is sun damage.
Yes, sun damage, of course, like what most people don't realize is that our necks are like exposed to the sun a lot more than we're thinking about. I think when people go to the beach, they're like, yeah, I know I gotta put sunscreen everywhere. But do you think about it when you drive in your car and you're maybe in your t-shirt and, the UV rays just hit your skin through the glass? Because most people actually still kind of like don't subscribe to the notion that UV rays really do age your skin and you have to apply SPF. So every time that you don't apply SPF on your neck and chest area and you expose it to the sun, it will remember. It will leave a mark.
It will leave a mark. And I think it's again, a side note here is, if you want to have the discussion around should we expose our bodies to the sun without SPF, yes or no, let's do it. Let's have that discussion. What we concentrate in this podcast is, how do you end up having a more youthful functioning skin, and then how does it look better at the end of the day? That's what we care about. We don't care about anything else within the confines of this podcast. And within the confines of this podcast, what is unequivocally true is that UV radiation, or the rays of the sun that disrupt, basically that cause oxidative damage in the skin, what they do is they damage the ability of your genes to be interpreted, which means that you are making less collagen. That's number one. They damage collagen and elastin, by the way, number two, and hyaluronic acid. And number three, they cause uneven pigment. That's kind of in short. They do many other things, but that's kind of in short. So whether you believe that you should, have all the vitamins D in the world, whether or not, what is unequivocally true is the fact that more UV equals older looking skin, period.
Yes. And also, the skin around the neck, just often, like you were saying in the beginning of the podcast, get a lot less care. Like our facial skin usually has some kind of some form of skincare routine, and that often is not extended to the neck and chest area. So that's compounding effect right there.
Yeah. Okay. So that's about the sun. Let's talk about, I mentioned collagen loss, right? So let's kind of look at, maybe we'll start with like gravity, but we can also talk about collagen loss more specifically as it pertains to the appearance of the skin.
Yeah, so gravity, like a lot of people don't want to hear about it, but it's true. As collagen depletes and skin becomes less elastic, gravity starts pulling everything downward. So the neck is a prime target for sagging, especially because the platysma, which is the muscle that runs from your jaw into your collarbone, gets weaker over time. And actually, we will talk about the like holistic things that you can do to support younger looking neck and chest area, but strengthening and exercising this muscle, I think, is the number one.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds interesting.
And if you don't, that's the weakening of this exact muscle. That's what leads to the turkey neck.
To the turkey neck. Okay. So, and collagen loss is obviously a side note to that, because collagen. So here we're actually doing two things. We're talking about deeper tissue. So you mentioned the platysma muscle. Now we mentioned like collagen, which is the skin. There's also fascia that we need to kind of throw into the mix there, as far as like things that behave differently as we grow older. And within that trifecta of like skin, fascia, muscle, they're targeted differently. They're treated differently, and they also look a little bit different when they're dysfunctional, as far as like how the skin of the neck and chest looks when it grows older. And now we kind of even mentioned the neck specifically, but there's also décolleté area, which is a bit different. So within that discussion, let's talk about technique.
Yes, the technique is such
You introduced me to the term, by the way.
Yeah, I did. Well, it's such a real thing. And I actually experienced firsthand effects of the technique because I have the tendency to stare on my phone like so if you're watching. And yeah, so just looking downward at your phone is as the consistent folding of the neck creates horizontal lines that weren't even common a generation ago. Now they're very, very prevalent. They're very common. And then again, we also talk about, well, we haven't talked about it, but it's not only the fact that we are slouching and we're positioning, ourselves like where we crease in this particular fashion that leads to the tech neck. There's also that particular weakening of the muscle and tension that results in those lines. But there's also, so we're looking at screens, right?
Yeah.
On our phone, and then we expose those areas to the blue light. And there has been a very extensive study published, I believe in 2022 or 23, that has shown that blue light 100% degrades collagen, as we talked about, the primary reason for the skin, looking older. It actually, you can get pigmentation, you can get sunspots from blue light. So when you're exposing, so this blue light hits, also your face, obviously the primary target, but also your neck and chest. So these are just, there are so many, now habits that we need to pay attention to, and extrinsic factors that, like I said earlier, like they weren't a thing a generation ago, and now it's so prevalent, and we have to pay attention.
Yeah, and within what I call the SWF, which is the sag and wrinkle factor of the neck, there is another issue. This is a very new study, by the way, showing that the fat under our skin is actually a source of stem cells and a source of communication of stem cells to the skin to create more collagen, etc. So since the areas of the neck and mainly the chest are actually less fatty than our face, that is another reason why we tend to have at least a more or a less youthfully functioning skin over time. It's not like it innately is more. I mean, it's more prone to aging, if you would. It's more sensitive to aging.
Yeah, and there is also a huge hormonal factor too, especially for women. As estrogen declines, especially post-menopause, skin loses about 30% of its collagen in the first 5 years. That affects the face, of course, but it's even more noticeable on the neck and chest.
Yeah. So we have two spots that we can look at as far as like just the effects of hormonal shifts, especially in women. One is late 30s, the other is kind of early mid 50s, which are the 2 points that are, obviously like statistically, we have large hormonal shifts due to perimenopause and menopause, right? And that's where people see their skin changing very rapidly. And not to say that is when people should treat their skin, but definitely I think it helps to know that wherever you are, kind of these are the 2 points that you are going to see a huge difference to the detrimental difference, and that you should do everything in your power to make sure that you are taking good care of your skin before this happens, or while it happens.
And I think what's also fascinating and hopeful is that a lot of these changes aren't just dedicated by genetics. Because I think in the past, you kind of like always looked at your mom, your grandma, and you're like, oh, they had turkey necks, so that's coming for me.
Yeah.
And that's, thankfully no longer the case. Like there's so much we can do to mitigate that.
Yeah, so that's the difference between genetics and epigenetics, right? Like genetics means everything is predetermined. I'm going to look like my mom. I'm gonna look like my dad. In that case, I mean, I look like my dad, but I wish
Yeah.
it would continue like that. Anyway, but
Yeah.
yes, so that's the difference between genetic and epigenetic. So that's something we say often, and we see many people actually, citing us on that, is that 80% of the reason,
Yeah.
80, so there was a big newsletter now of like this big event that kind of took word for what we're saying normally. So 80%, we have intrinsic aging, which is, you could think of it as predetermined, and 80% that is not predetermined, it's called extrinsic aging. And within extrinsic aging, so 80% of why your skin is going to look like it looks is due to things like exposure to, as we said, blue light, artificial lights, EMFs, which you're also exposed to when you're with your phone next to your pollution, heavy metals, UV radiation. By the way, within that 80%, less than half of it is UV. So a lot of other things that we think of that we actually don't think of, like blue light, like EMFs, affect the skin dramatically. We're going to talk more and more how we mitigate that, but that causes our cells to behave like older cells. So that drives age, basically. That drives elderly function.
Yeah. And that's we can, already say that that's why we promote things like NAD plus precursors, youth gene activators.
Wait, no, spoiler alert. I want to touch on it later. Don't spoil.
Okay.
But I want to talk about other things that are contributing to that 80%.
Okay. Yes.
So let's talk about kind of the biggest mistakes we make or people make. First, I would like to talk about only applying skincare, as I said, above the jawline. So since you probably have more skincare conversations than I do, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, I think a lot of the times the taking care of your neck and chest is like an afterthought. These areas are just as important, so they deserve the same care, the same investment, and the same consistency as your face.
And now the second point is kind of connected to it, but I would like to offer something. So SPF in general, like sunblock in general, we kind of said how important that is. But I would like to talk about protection in general, and to talk about the fact that a lot of people forget to put SPF, or they don't put SPF. Other ones apply the body SPF on the face and neck, the neck and chest. So they apply a sunblock that actually is a little bit chemically, like a little bit, the makeup there isn't very skin friendly. It's designed for skin that can handle more, less sensitive skin, and you're actually causing inflammation, like you're driving inflammation in the tissue, which ages you. So you want to use, high quality face sunblock as far as the neck and chest skin is concerned. Within that, I would say, because we said before about non-native EMFs, blue light, things like that we want to use a product, since most of the time we're indoors and the other things are more important. We actually want to use a product that has high content of antioxidants, for example, or uses ingredients like ectoin, to use ingredients in our sunblock on the face and neck that would protect it against other environmental stressors as well. Am I making sense?
Yeah, for sure. And also, just if you're listening to it and you're like, no, I don't want to put the SPF. Okay, just consider covering yourself up. You can always...
You go for the Steve Jobs look.
Yeah. Literally, you can... Or Anne Hathaway. It's just last summer, there were pictures of her enjoying like boat vacation.
Enjoying? I don't know how she enjoyed with that.
And she was... Yeah, and she was full... Like, she looked like she was wearing no-gi for jiu-jitsu. Like, she had really long leggings. and the turkey neck.
You know how she looked like? She looked like, I think it was like the 2004 Olympics or 2008 Olympics, where they had the fast swimming suit for swimmers, and they covered them with basically like...
Well, I mean, she is very pale and she's smart. Like that, it's either she's going to burn her skin, like, because her skin, how does it tan? It turns red and burn. So, but yeah, my point here is that if you're not ready to invest in the SPF for your face and spread it all over your neck and chest, there is a free alternative where you just cover it up with clothing. Like, invest in a wide brim hat, just bring it wherever you go. I have hats everywhere. Like, I have a couple of them by the door, just so they remind me to put them on before I leave. I have some in the car. I have some in Amitai's car. Like, I just spread hats everywhere. And I do put SPF, but you just, yeah, I mean, just take it seriously. Yeah, if you...
And visors, your big visors.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so within the parameters of like inducing inflammation that would exacerbate skin aging or push skin towards aging is I think, harsh ingredients that people kind of use on their face. It might get away with it, but they also use them on the neck and chest, like, AHAs, BHAs, like alpha hydroxy, like glycolic peels, tretinoin, like hard retinols.
I think people just often don't realize how dehydrated and naturally dry the neck and chest area, the skin around that area is. And I think let's just give advice of people to consider it to be as delicate as like area around your eyes. So if you wouldn't put, particular acids around your eyes, just don't put it on neck and chest as well.
Or you're around your lips too, right? It's another area that you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's actually good advice. If someone decides that they want to do that, they have to have crazy support. Like, they have to have, they have to make sure they support with like something that prevents moisture loss, like slugging, basically. Google the term. Or they should introduce it extremely slowly. When we talk about retinoids and things like that, you should introduce it slower than you did to the face, because the risks are not only specifically irritation, it's drying out over time. So it's a little bit different than the skin in the face. On the contrary, talking about mistakes, a lot of people think, for them that, like, for me, it's too late because the damage has already been done. So what do you think about that? I mean, they can hear it from me that it's not too late, but what do you think about, I mean, I can say just by what we have experienced, as far as like what we experience for customers. I think people who have used very advanced longevity ingredients and AD precursors, spermidine, spoiler alert, spermidine, or that have done red light therapy very consistently, especially if they used ladder together with it, our serum. That combination, I've seen incredible results from the neck. So I don't think for the majority of people it's too late.
I also think, so I think if you are going to rely only on creams to reverse very prominent skin aging on your neck and chest, I don't think, even ladder and red light therapy, it might work for some. Again, everybody's body is different, and the ability to bounce back and reverse aging and, is different. But I strongly think that if you do invest time and start doing those facial kind of gymnastics that you can find accounts online. I will even like provide some accounts that I personally follow. It just happened to be a lot of ladies that are like from post-Soviet space. Like there is one really famous one. She has the same name like me, Anastasia, and I see her everywhere. I think she has like many, many millions of followers. But She looks amazing, and all she does is she's showing you the ways you can do like face yoga exercises. And also shout out to Olga, who is probably listening to this podcast, and will be sending me some tapes to try because I mentioned that I'm doing face taping. So she will include her handle as well, so you can follow her along. So she does a lot of work with facial tape, but she does do show different kind of exercises you can do around your neck. I'll be honest, it's a commitment, right? You have to have an additional step at your routine. You have to learn how to do it. You have to actually do it. So yes, it will be much easier to run after some new laser treatment that you think, will be like a quick fix or
Just want to
something
say
like that.
it's Olga from Natural Face Bible.
Yes.
We're going to have this, yeah.
Yes, but we're going to make sure to include her handle below in the show notes so you can guys find it. But what I'm saying is that there are resources online to find and couple with red light therapy, with advanced skincare formulations. I'm just somebody that personally, yes, like you asked me a question. If someone is, already has turkey neck, is it too late for them? And they're like a little bit older. So I'm not going to say it's too late for them, but I'll be as transparent as possible that you need to put in work, and it will have to be consistent.
Yes.
Routine. It can't be just something that you did for a
Yes.
week, 2 weeks, a month, and you hope for a dramatic change. But I do believe, and I've seen testimonials online that of women in mature age and very prominent. Be it facial skin showing signs of aging or neck and chest that got significantly better, coupling the things that we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, and so a lot of people assume invasive treatments are the only hope. And I think, within that, obviously I don't think it's the truth at all. I think invasive treatments, most people who do them is to avoid plastic surgery. By the way, plastic surgery works, like neck lifts work. But you need to make sure that you are the perfect candidate.
And actually, if you do want to go for a facelift or neck lift down the line, you absolutely can't do lasers. And maybe someone is listening and is like, no, I did and I can't. I mean, let me correct myself. You can, but your skin tissue will be much more difficult to work with. So
and even more than that are radio frequency, any kind of wave-based devices that are supposed to actually target. So all therapy, Morpheus 8, soft wave, which now came back to prominence because Brian Johnson said he did it. All of those wave-based devices, they actually target fascia, which, is a different issue. Fascia is under the fat, and you are going to destroy some fat tissue. You're going to do, maybe we'll talk about it a bit later. But most people, everyone does them in the hope that they're going to replace surgery. Not only that they don't, is that these wave-based devices are actually a death sentence to a good surgery.
Yeah. And Morpheus 8, for example, uses radio frequency and microneedling, which can cause fat loss under the skin. That it might look good at first because you're getting swelling and it looks tighter that way, but over time you're going to see damaged structure that
Yeah, and all of those devices work within the same parameters. They're all going to damage vasculature, create scar tissue, damage the natural
capillaries,
the natural gliding of tissue over one another. And they also have risk of damaging the thyroid when we're talking about the neck.
Yeah.
So that's something we always make sure we mention, that that's a really bad idea.
And the same logic applies to so many other tech devices that are out there. So I think the logic here is that if this treatment is triggering inflammation without supporting regeneration, it's not anti-aging, it's just trauma, skin
Amen.
trauma.
Okay, so let's do some rapid fire myth busting. How about that? Okay, so I will ask you and you will answer.
Okay.
Ready?
Sure, let's try it.
Okay. Crepey skin is inevitable as you age.
It's not true. If you are consistent with your care and support the skin and the issues that it's facing, what we were talking about, like it has less sebaceous glands, so make sure that you properly hydrate and moisturize. And if you don't, expose it too much to environmental aggressors and you mitigate it, with SPF, then crepey skin is not your destiny. You can absolutely avoid it.
As we say, it's about biology, not birthdays. Okay. Moisturizer alone will reverse crepiness. So what you need is more hydration.
No, the moisturizer alone, it might mask crepiness. You might, like, as long as the moisturizer is on, it might feel smoother. But then you went to the shower, you washed it off, and you look at your skin, like after you pet dried it with a towel, and you're like, oh my God, no, it's very dry. So that's really your skin. And, when it comes to moisturizer, your goal should be to look for biochemical support for all of these processes that we talked about. So there is a certain cellular pathways that happen during aging. And thankfully, there are already ingredients that can set off cascade of, events that will trigger your skin actually function younger.
Okay.
And that's not every moisturizer will have those ingredients.
Yes. So you need the target bioactives within it.
Yes.
Okay. The third one is Botox is a complete solution. Oh, I will just get Botox. I mean, we hear it a lot in the face and we start to hear it pushed onto the neck as well. We're not even talking about the fact that people do like fillers and stuff in there. But like Botox is what we want to do for the neck.
No. So Botox is definitely not a solution. If you overdo it, you can actually weaken the platysmal muscle, which already is prone to sagging that we talked about. So you might have like a smoother skin, but then it will start be dropping even more. So definitely Botox will not, it's not a magic wand.
Yes. And also not all the lines are created equal, right? Like it can resolve lines that go to like one direction that are caused by like muscle tension and stuff like that. But if it's like muscles that are caused by like detachment of the fascia or things like that, like things that are more driven by like gravity, Botox doesn't really help as long as that is concerned. So
yeah.
Okay. I think myth that we've kind of covered before, but I want to drive the point home is machines like Morpheus 8 or Softwave or All Therapy are an ideal solution.
Absolutely not. They're ideal solution if you want to get skin trauma.
Yeah.
If that's your goal.
I would say I would put within that also something called Kybella. Kybella is an injection which does create inflammation, damage, drives inflammation in the tissue, damages fat, and is mainly used to like reduce the circumference in the skin, maybe like especially under the chin. Not like a horrible thing to do, creating a lot of scar tissue, really bad for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's talk about like the next frontier. We've covered, the less pleasant things. Now we're going to cover what really works, not only what doesn't work. So let's talk about, topical powerhouse ingredients that are essential, that are non-negotiable as far as restoring youthful function to the skin neck.
Okay.
We can obviously start with NAD. So let's talk about NAD a little bit. NAD obviously is the molecule that we have in abundance in our body till we die. But the problem is we need more than abundance, right? We need optimal level for NAD. NAD is basically the currency for repair in the body, there are 600 youth and repair processes that rely on NAD. And it starts lowering in our mid 20s. And by the time we're 60 years old, we have half of what we need, which is still a lot, but it's half of what we need. The body has a very, very hard time recovering those numbers alone. That's why a lot of people supplement with them. The body doesn't only have a hard time recovering those, the body has a hard time kind of getting them into specific cells, and the skin cells are one of those cells that it's very hard for the body from your food sources, from supplementation, to get those into skin cells.
Yes, and when NAD plus is depleted, the cells basically go into survival mode.
Yeah.
They stop producing collagen, they stop detoxifying, and you get visible signs of aging, especially in thin, delicate areas like your neck and chest.
Demure and what is it? Very.
Yeah, I forgot.
Very demure.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so going like one step past that, within our what we call the skin longevity matrix, the first thing that we want to take care of is, healthy, adequate, optimal NAD levels in the skin. The way you do it is by NAD precursors, building blocks, because they are the ones that can actually get into the skin, into the cells themselves, and restore NAD levels in the cells. So these are the important kind of molecules to provide. They need to be nano-sized. They need to be liposomal. There's a process there. The next generation of that, which we actually have launched very, very recently, kind of under the radar because it's a lot to explain, is helping the body regenerate its own NAD supply in the skin.
Which is very cool.
Yeah.
But it's not just about NAD+. You want to support pathways downstream of NAD+, as well. So that's where spermidine comes in. It activates autophagy, which is how your skin clears out damaged cells and regenerates fresh, healthy ones.
Yes, that's correct. And within that, so one of the things that NAD does, which is like super important, it allows the correct genes to be expressed. So the youthful genes, the genes that say, hey, we're young, let's make more collagen, are on.
These are sirtuin genes.
Sirtuin genes, but actually like 17 different genes, like PARPs, like 17 different families of genes. But it also allows other genes to function correctly, like collagen genes, elastin genes, hyaluronic acid genes. And one of the things that we can do in order to capitalize on that NAD levels, like spermidine, for example, is something called aquaxyl, which is an ingredient that traditionally is not used really in skincare. It's used in injections more, not in America necessarily. But aquaxyl is incredible because it upregulates specific genes that are involved in hydration. 10 different genes. Aquaporin and clodine are the main ones. But it is incredible as far as like hydration and having your cells actually be more hydrated, not providing hydration, not what a good moisturizer will do, which is prevent loss of hydration, but really allow your cells to create their own hydration much better. Let's talk about vitamin C.
Okay,
the good, the bad, and the ugly.
So the favorite vitamin C form for me, it's MAP, which is the magnesium ascorbyl phosphate, and THDA. Those are two different forms. One is the water soluble, the first one, and the other one is the lipid soluble. We have the first one in our Youth Reset. We have it like in many products now. The second one is used in ProCare. So those forms, they're stabilized.
The one also is Youth Daily.
In Youth Daily, yes.
Shout out. And also in, spoiler alert, also in Youth Neck and Chest.
Yes.
In chest.
So those forms, what is the reason I like them is they're stabilized. They're non-irritating versions that work deeper in the skin without causing sensitivity.
Yeah. It's not only sensitive, like short-term sensitivity. What we cover when we go into our deep dives is ascorbic acid, which is the synthetic version, non-stable version, is actually aging you. I mean, if you're interested, there is an 1.5-hour podcast about vitamin C, but
yeah. And just the spoiler alert for that podcast is that, a lot of people think when a person says vitamin C, they're automatically thinking, for brightening. But they do a lot more than brighten vitamin C. The proper forms, they are collagen cofactors.
Yeah.
So that means your skin literally needs vitamin C to build new collagen. So no vitamin C, no collagen synthesis. So any kind of skincare routine should have vitamin C, as a part of it. It can be the only source,
Amen.
of inspiration. So, so when someone's asking, like, why does my neck look so dull and thin? One of the first things I ask, what kind of antioxidants are you using, and are they actually bioavailable?
Like
So
that, you just jump into it right away.
yes. Do you want
Is
to?
it like it's like when you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail? Oh, I'm so tired. Well, what antioxidants is, and are they bioavailable?
Yes. Do you want to talk about bioavailable antioxidants that we use?
Yeah, so antioxidants are just notoriously hard to pronounce. They're notoriously difficult to stabilize. So a lot of the times when a product is what we call clean washing, which is only talking about the cleanliness of the formulation, what they are doing is distracting you from the fact that they have ingredients that would not be stable under the conditions that the product is formulated in. So any product that has vitamin C and doesn't have any type of stabilizer, especially if the vitamin C is like ascorbic acid, you're not getting what you're paying for. You're getting a pro-aging
Yeah, but
product.
I was thinking, like, maybe we can talk about other antioxidants that we use, not just vitamin
Correct.
C.
I'm so yeah, but
You're riled up.
we're using antioxidants. So one of the antioxidants that we use, which actually is like, if you want to nerd about it, it's called a polyphenol, not an antioxidant, but has antioxidant capabilities.
Properties, yeah.
Is resveratrol, and not just any resveratrol, a patented version, fermented resveratrol, because resveratrol is not playing nice with the skin normally. When you ferment it, you make it significantly more bioavailable and less irritating. And resveratrol actually mimics the way our body protects itself against sun damage. So it actually helps that. The patented version that we use has published studies showing that it does that. So it's part of a whole, routine, and also activates youth genes, which we mentioned before. The sirtuin genes has a hard time doing it through the gut, much easier time doing it through the skin. So it actually makes you function like a more youthful skin.
Okay.
Did I say what you wanted me to say?
Yeah.
Cool.
Now, let's also talk about red and near-infrared light therapy, because this has a huge effect on mitochondrial activity. When cells are exposed to certain light wavelengths, they produce more ATP, basically more energy for repair and regeneration.
Yeah, so...
And it's not just theory. We've seen measurable improvements in skin density, smoothness, and tone when people use red light consistently on their neck and chest. So
yeah, and by the way, I love red light therapy for the neck and chest because, as we mentioned before, the idea of stimulating regeneration in the neck and chest has a very finite limit because of the sensitivity of the neck and chest. So you can't use ingredients that conventionally you would use to cause radical change, because that skin will just flip out, if you would, no pun intended, and it would basically become actually older. It would not react positively to that. It's like if someone is already, tired and just grumpy and everything, and you try to give it a pep talk, it's going to flip out at you. I mean, and I don't know why I'm looking at you when I said that. But anyway, you get the point. So
sounds familiar.
Anyway, but red light therapy is interesting because it's all of the good and none of the bad. So it's not really stimulatory, but it is supportive. So your skin anyway wants to create collagen. Your skin wants to react to different environmental stressors. Your skin wants to, use the actives that you gave it and run with them, right? Red light therapy improves the ability to do that because it improves energy in the mitochondria. But it does something else. If we go back to the conversation around hormones, red light therapy is incredible for your thyroid. Perimenopausal women and menopausal women historically has had very high tendency for thyroid issues. Thyroid issues, hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism, in turn, really drive skin aging. So we're actually kind of having a side benefit here of red light therapy, which is really cool, which we are looking at our neck as kind of a separate item, but we really are improving underlying conditions that would improve skin health in the neck and chest and other areas as well.
Yeah, and especially when it's paired with topical that enhances mitochondrial performance,
such as
like the ladder serum.
Mm-hmm.
So that synergy between light and ingredient is what makes it biohacking, not just skincare.
Yeah. So biohacking, I really like the idea of all of the good and none of the bad, right? Like if we think of like red light therapy, we think of what's good in what's fostering health in sun rays versus why can we get damaged by sun rays? So we're taking out UV and blue light and we're leaving the beneficial wavelengths, right? So same thing with ladder, for example. We are improving that cue to the skin to repair. We're helping some other things there. We've talked about ladder a lot, but ladder, we talked a lot about UV damage today. Ladder, together with red light therapy, reverses that. Ladder improves collagen production. Ladder has the ingredients that we talked about today, spermidine, NAD precursors, helping, recycle NAD in our skin, help, has crazy effective antioxidants that can actually improve the penetration and absorption of red light therapy. So together, they work very, very, very well. And this has been, a crazy launch of the ladder serum. But this podcast is not about the ladder serum.
No.
I just want to say thank you to everyone that sent it as gift to their friends, that tagged the product in their stories and said, wow, I've never had results like that. That tagged someone in the comment and said, hey, you really need that. I don't know about that. We had a few of those, but thank you. That's not about ladder today, but
I will say though that ladder is a serum. So when you are performing your red light therapy, right? In this particular case, let's say we're talking about rejuvenating, the skin around your neck and décolleté. So you had your clean skin, you apply the serum, you waited for it to absorb, you use the red light therapy, then you got to follow with the moisturizer. And so when we previously talked about facial skin with the previous podcast, we then had a routine set with following with Youth Daily. And you could use Youth Daily for the neck and chest. However, since, as Amitai said in the beginning of this podcast, we in our formulations we did kind of neglect, formulating something special for neck and chest area, and it was very, very much requested. So we did, and that's the product that. The product that actually has spermidine, NAD plus precursors, Aquaxyl that we talked about, which is the only product in our skincare line that has this ingredient, and it's very needed for the conditions of the neck and chest and the issues that the skin is facing. It has the fermented resveratrol. It has GHKCU, which we didn't talk much about, but I feel like GHKCU doesn't need no introduction. Most people already know what it does.
It also has the delivery system is a little different. So the delivery system is compatible with the neck and chest. A lot of the time, I think it's overlooked. You need to match the makeup of the product to the makeup of the skin that you want to target, of the layer that you want to target. So that becomes tricky with trying to get ingredients where you want them, facial ingredients where you want them, to the neck and chest. So the delivery system has to be slightly different. The molecule size has to be slightly different. There is something else besides the list of ingredients on the or even hero ingredients on the label.
Yeah, it's not just this product does have like the dream team of ingredients, but we really looked and took our time to find the proper delivery system. And it's like the same philosophy behind biohacking your body. You don't just take a bunch of supplements and hope for the best. You look at how systems work together and how you support them intelligently. So yeah,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
I think if you don't have the red light therapy device and you are not using ladder for your neck and chest, even just using it as a moisturizer along with all of the things we talked about, be it, you know, facial, like the exercises that you can do, like a facial yoga to strengthen the platysma muscle, releasing tension, working with your fascia. And yes, using not just any hydrator, but the hydrator that has all of that bioavailable ingredients we talked about and that set out all these proper cascades,
Yeah.
chemical
Of metabolic
cascades
events.
of metabolic events. Yes, that's where you can really see the transformation for someone that's in their 50s, 60s, and beyond that thought that it's already too late. They can really see a change.
Yes. So I think you said it very well. I think three things are very unique within that product that are different than products that we've done in the past. We talked about Aquaxil. The genes that it targets, the 10 genes that it targets, specifically their function deteriorates in the neck and chest. So that is very unique to have. That's number one. Number two is a complex that is called, if you grabbed your current NAD or current, sorry, I spoiler alert myself over here. Anyway, so if you grab your Young Goose product, you're going to see something called NAD Noble as a complex on your bottle. And that bottle is basically our nano-sized liposomal NAD precursors. What we have here is actually something slightly different. It's called NAD Apex, which is the next generation of NAD boosters that we have. It does have those NAD precursors, nano-sized liposomal NAD precursors. But what it has matched together with it are actives that stimulate a pathway. We need to do a podcast about that specifically, so I'm not going to dive into it unless you think it's a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea, no. But it stimulates something called NAMPT, which is the salvage pathway or recycling pathway of NAD. So it basically tells your skin, here's some NAD because I know you can't create NAD on your own. It goads it along. It's like, I know, you're old, you can't create NAD on your own. And the skin is like, really? I can't? I'm going to show you. I can create NAD on our own. So it's poking it to create NAD. I don't know, that was a bad joke. Anyway, so it does two things. Provides the NAD precursors and stimulates NAD production in the skin.
Yes.
Unique, first in its class, first product in the world to do that. I remember when we launched NAD skincare, 2020, end of 2019, 2020, we were the only ones. No one understood even what we're talking about when we said NAD. Yeah. They thought we said the word "and" wrong. And what? So now we see other players, although doing it disingenuously, although doing it without caring about bioavailability, we see other players using it as a marketing term. We see people citing Kendall Jenner.
My favorite thing that happened, and it happened a few times, is when another NAD company has an ad, and then someone leaves a comment there. Oh, I'm using so and so as NAD's company, NAD plus, skincare company, and then there is like a whole thread of comments where people are like, "Young Goose, we're there first, and they did it first," and like, I honestly I love that we have such great community that's been with us since 2020. And
I love it, but I do want to say something. For us, being first is cool, it's nice. Look,
But that's not our promise, yeah.
well, it's being vindicated, right? Like we know that we did something that is now that we were kind of right, that we knew that people will resonate with. Cool story, bro. But what we want to do is not to scream, hey, we were here first. Is what we want to do is innovate and to have our dear, dear users and ourselves, by the way, ourselves, by the way, and ourselves, know that what we are using currently is what other companies are going to use in 5 years.
Yeah, and that's really our promise. Like we're always delivering the most cutting edge innovation, and we know we will be copied later, but that's okay because as long as we get to bring something to the market and maybe raise the bar a little bit and, make other companies understand, okay, you can't use this outdated data anymore and you got to give people something better, that's fine. I'll live I'll live with myself and sleep happy, knowing that that's something that we did for the industry, for, customers worldwide, even the ones that are using, maybe not as good of NAD skincare, but at least it's better than, what pharmacies have to offer or something like that,
Yeah, I mean, maybe it is.
Yes.
Maybe it isn't. But what is important is that
we
were there
direction.
first. No, I'm kidding. What's important is that we innovate.
Okay.
Obviously, no one's using spermidine yet.
Yes.
No one's using our copper peptide complex. No one's using a lot of stuff. So
no one made a product that responds to light. And supports red light therapy.
And it's gonna. Anyway, yes.
I think before we wrap up this episode, which has become a little ranty towards the end, I do know that if we will leave out the skincare routine for the neck and chest, that will be like the number one asked question.
Shoot, just like so we don't. So I don't go into rants, just to go ahead and say.
Okay. So, so your step one would be to cleanse gently, and we mean gently. Like the neck and chest are so easily irritated, so you don't want to strip them with harsh foaming cleansers. We recommend something like the adaptogenic cleanser, which is very gentle. It's based on chamomile essence, ginger essence, so it balances skin microbiome and protects the skin barrier. So the step two will be to prep and hydrate. So this is where if you're going through our full routine, right, AM and PM routine with Young Goose, you would apply amplifying essence. It hydrates, but more importantly, it preps the skin to absorb all the good stuff that you're about to layer on. So then you apply your active serum. So it can be something like Youth Reset, it can be Pro Care, depending on your needs. The Reset is great for the long-term regeneration, while Pro Care targets senescent cells for optimal youthful function. And then this is where the star of the show, the Youth Firming Neck and Chest, comes in. So that's your collagen boosting, gene activating skin firming powerhouse, loaded with NAD boosters, spermidine, aquaxyl, fermented resveratrol, copper peptides. Is doing the heavy lifting biologically. And
DHDA.
And then the last step in the morning routine will be the SPF. So hopefully you'll use BioShield SPF 40 that will protect not just from UV rays, but also from EMFs and from pollution and from blue light. And then if you're doing it at night, you can layer hyperbaric mask if you already have it and you use it and you love it over the neck and chest cream. You can definitely do that.
Cool.
So that would be the routine that's outside of red light therapy, because we already talked about how you can support it with red light therapy. But if you just, if you're, using our products and wonder, where is this product comes in, it basically would take the same place that Youth Daily it's taking for the face, but now you have something more optimized for neck and chest.
Very cool. Okay, let's wrap this up. The key takeaway, I believe, is your neck deserves as much love as your face, if not more.
Yes.
And chest. I would like to invite people to a challenge.
Okay.
First of all, if people got all the way here, they care about their neck more than 99% of the people out there. So you're the 1%ers. But let's invite you for a challenge. Do you have a challenge in mind? Do you want me to have one?
You can have one.
Okay, let's have one. So I invite people to a 30-day neck care challenge.
Okay.
Where they take a before picture, they follow the routine that you've just outlined. They take an after picture after 30 days, and they send us the picture if they want. If not, they don't have to, but I invite people for that challenge, and I am very excited to see the results, because aging gracefully means that you are healthy, vibrant, and your skin shows it from face to chest.
Yes. I am all up for the challenge, and also will say that we are always very happy to receive before and afters. We have amazing before and afters from all of our long-term users. And I will also say that, even though people have been sending it just to share with us and to, make our day and just, express the gratitude, we always reward those with some product because, if you took the moment to take those pictures and to send us a note, we want to, reward you as well for
Reciprocate.
that. Reciprocate.
Sometimes it's secret products. If we have products that were not out yet, sometimes they get crazy products.
Yes.
I'm just saying,
Yes.
that's not a promise.
We actually have some people that have been using R&D of neck and chest for like a year. So we've been getting some user trial pictures, now that are like over a year long. But so the bottom line is I hope you will do the challenge. And also, I hope that part of the challenge will also include all of those things that we talked about, like protecting your skin from sun, doing facial exercises. Maybe you'll adopt facial taping. There's just some other good, healthy habits that I would also love for you guys to adopt.
They need to do the entire routine that you said. That's a challenge. Anyway,
Yes. I hope that this has been helpful for anyone that was wondering what's going on with the skin around the neck and, why the function the way it functions, what you can do about it. And
I hope it was helpful for everyone that said, I've had it up to here. Okay.
That's funny.
To everyone, obviously, look, thank you for all of the amazing reviews, the amazing comments, the texts that we get. These really fuel the fire that we have to create this information for you. If you haven't yet, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Please ask any question you want there. We might answer it in our next episode. Who knows? And of course, that will help us reach more people and support the youthful journey of more people. Until next time, Anastasia Khojaeva.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Amitai Eshel. Biohacking Beauty. Bye.